Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, all right, and happy Friday. It's that time again. Lois Kofi here with another live episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. And oh my gosh, you are in for a treat. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to be talking about sex, baby. So just hold your horses. I've got an amazing guest for us to really be inspired today. So I wanted to quickly just remind you, if this is your first time, whether this is the live or the replay, or you're in iTunes or YouTube, remember, if you want to see it live, you got to join all of us kids in the party at the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community. You can just go to healthyandwealthyandwise.com and you can find all my upcoming guests, all my past guest recordings, and then how to access our Facebook community, as well as sign up for my email list so that you can receive all of these recordings in your inbox on Monday morning, because that's when I have my post-production release of all of these amazing guests. So if you want to be able to connect with our guests, it's a great place to be. So we always bring in health experts, wealth experts, and wisdom experts every week with a different topic to help you as salespeople, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs to live your best life. And I met our guest today, Suzanne Pool, all the way from across the ocean in the UK. Whoop, whoop. I just love listening to her accent, first things first. But when I heard what she did and how she helps women as a sexual empowerment coach, I was like, oh my gosh, you have to be on my show. So let me tell you a little bit about Suzanne. She is a self-styled women's sexual empowerment coach, as I already said, helping women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond have the most mind-blowing sex and enjoyment of their lives, which, oh, by the way, impacts their bank account. So Suzanne, I'm just going to leave it at that, because that introduction is enough to get them to go, whoa, what is she going to talk about? And turn it over to you.
Oh, well, thank you, Lois. Hello, everyone. I'm Suzanne Pool, as Lois has said. Hello from London, where it is a little bit later in the day than it is for you on the West Coast. And yeah, it's just really great to be here. Lois, you're one of my favorite people. Thank you for inviting me to be on your show. And we're going to talk about why having amazing sex does turn into more money in your bank account. It's an interesting combination, and I promise you it works.
Speaking from experience.
What would you like to know? Where can we start?
Well, how did you tell us your story? Because I know your story, and it's so powerful. And how does one become a sexual empowerment coach? I know there's more to the story there.
Yeah, okay, good question. So I am a self-styled sexual empowerment coach and also business consultant. And I say business consultant because for about close on 20 years, I was an intellectual property lawyer in London, working for some of the largest media companies in the UK. Now, if I told you who they were in the States, you probably wouldn't have heard of them, but they are big companies in the UK. And then there was some also quite small companies in the UK as well, but they all were media companies. And you know, throughout my 20s and my 30s, I was really dedicated to my career. And all my lovely Jewish mother, may she rest in peace, she's gone now, but all through my 20s and early 30s, my Jewish mother wanted was for me to get married and have children. But at the same time, I was also quite significantly bigger and fatter than I am now. And in fact, in my 30s, I was pretty much celibate for 7 years. And I wasn't celibate out of choice. I also weighed about 250 pounds in my 30s, and I thought that was the reason that I was celibate, that men didn't find me attractive. And well, men didn't find me attractive, but it wasn't because I was fat. About 3 months before I turned 40, no, probably like 9 months before I turned 40, I had a realization that I was doing my career and everything was going quite well, and except that I wasn't married and I didn't have any children. And by this time, my mother had died. But I was really about people having fun, being free and fully fulfilled in life. And that was what I'm about in life. And I was like, that's great. And what about me? So I took a look at myself and I thought, well, this is the size that I am. What if the size that I am has nothing to do with the fact that I'm not in a relationship? Okay, interesting idea. And about a week later, a friend of mine called me and said, do you want to go to a singles night? Like, okay. Not sure, but all right, grab the bull by the horns. And I said yes. And off we went. And I met somebody. And the following week, we went out on a date. And well, that got rid of a few cobwebs, shall we say. So I broke the little barren spell that had been going on for 7 years. And what I realized in that moment was that being attractive had really nothing to do with my body shape or like how my weight. It really had to do with how I felt about myself and my ability to exude confidence and feeling good about myself. And when I got that, then I got laid. And that continued for a few years. And in between, some other stuff happened. And this is the connection that is interesting about sex and money. During that time, also, my salary tripled. So I got myself a new job and my salary went exponentially up. And during this time, while I was celibate, I'd also been studying bondage and domination and submission as a quite intellectual exercise because I didn't have anyone to practice on. And then after that, I got to practice on somebody and he practiced on me. And well, that was quite interesting as well. And that was interesting because it really opened up our relationship and our communication differently. And it had me impact my confidence level. Like I learned to express myself differently, which was something that I've been practicing. And then, I tripled my salary, as I said, but sadly in 2016, I lost my job. I was laid off by the company that I was working for. And at the same time, my father died. And that was some upheaval in my life. But it gave me a bit of space. I now no longer had a job. So I was like, well, what is it that I really want to do with my life? And I knew that I wanted to coach and support women in enjoying life. And this is what I came up with, Lois. And it's much more fun than being a lawyer. I can tell you that. Much more fulfilling than being a lawyer. So those two things I said I wanted to be up for creating the world. That's what I do. So yeah, it's a good story, yeah. And obviously I don't weigh 250 pounds anymore either. And that is I changed my mindset as well. So yeah. So lots happened.
So amazing.
Thank you. It's a good story, I think.
Amazing. And I think, you and I both, we went through a lot of loss and sometimes it's those big events that kind of leave us broken and questioning and wondering our purpose in life. Sometimes that fork in the road. And that's one of the reasons I fell in love with your story and your authenticity, because you, I think, became more authentic, right? Through that process, you became more real and finding yourself. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say, yes, I would say that's accurate. It's like, especially when, I was no longer in the corporate world, it's like much easier to fully express yourself when you're not constrained by the kind of corporate life and having to behave in a certain way. But it goes back to the moment, after the 7-year drought, as it were, where I realized that it wasn't about what was going on out here with other people. It was really what was going on over here with myself. And it was about appreciating myself and loving myself no matter what. And yeah, was I unhealthy? I was. I needed to lose weight. It was important. But it didn't mean that I was less than anyone else or less than the person that I could be. And that is the authentic aspect, I think. And also, this is one of the things that really resonates with me for your story, is just the power of being vulnerable, which I know Brené Brown is like, that's her thing and everything. But when we're able to share that life isn't perfect for us and that we've experienced ups, trauma and difficulty and we've come through the other side, or that we're going through it right now and life is really uncomfortable, that is when we are most powerful, if you like. And when we, yeah, I see you nodding. And when we are real that way and raw that way, that's when the universe allows us in to really be everything that we can be. But it takes the willingness to accept that we're not super powerful in that moment. Does that make sense? I'm not sure that, yeah. So it's like the vulnerability is an access to really manifesting things that is very surprising. That's what I'd say.
No, 100%. And I shared, I don't know if you heard my podcast monologue earlier this week. I talked about, are you addicted to fear? And I was so addicted to fear and, fear of failure, fear of, being seen as a fraud or whatever, making mistakes, I had to be perfect. And I think we can talk to that in a minute. I even know, because I've coached thousands of people in health and fitness and weight loss. I want to touch on that really quickly. And I even mentioned that on Monday, that goes along with what you said. And I'd love your take on it, even though you've already touched on it, but maybe how you help women find the ability to release the fear. And then, oh my gosh, once you release the fear, the weight starts being released. When I was coaching those thousands of people, most 60 to 70% were women who wanted to lose weight. They were looking for the shake. They were looking for the magic pill.
Yeah, the magic pill.
They thought they had to work out, 500 hours a week in order to do that. But you touched on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe tell a little bit about, even at a deeper level, how you help women empower themselves, and if you've seen any other weight loss stories, because I think there's a huge connection there.
Yeah, so I definitely for sure have seen weight loss stories with my clients. And weight is an ongoing thing, to be fair. And I'm not where I want to be. I've lost a lot of weight, but I haven't lost all the weight that I want to lose, but that's fine. And I think the thing is that quite often, and it's interesting what you say about being addicted to fear, it's easier to have the fear than it is to actually find the courage in ourselves to really go for what it is that we want. And usually that's because what it is that we want is involves other people, and that's risky because it risks hurt and pain and being let down by other people. And we make that mean all sorts of things about ourselves. It doesn't mean really any of those things, but we just kind of, we're programmed in a way in school and by, other people. And that's just the way humanity is. But it's like we are programmed that like we shouldn't trust other people and people are going to hurt us and they're going to let us down. And so it's better to kind of put ourselves in a kind of shell. And that's a little bit, in my view, what fat is. Quite often, not always, but quite often. It's like a way of protecting ourselves and keeping ourselves separate from the world. And so, in the work that I do, which is, it's way more than this, but it is partly releasing negative emotions, dealing with limiting beliefs. Of course it is. That's kind of classic coaching in a way. But when we let go of those thoughts that we have that are negative, I like in my book, and I've published a book last year, I call them gnarly little limiting decisions. Because they're gnarly, they like sit there and gnaw away at our self-esteem, right? But when we go to work on them and actually like remove them and put something that's positive and empowering in its place, then it starts to become easier to maintain the habits. And ultimately, really, getting what we want in our lives is about maintaining consistent habits. There's no other way about it, people are, like you mentioned, the kind of shake and pill potion way of losing weight, which does work, by the way. I know I've done it, but it's a temporary solution. Yeah, it's a temporary solution.
I'm glad you
it's
brought
like,
that up because I'm glad you brought that up really quickly. Disclaimer. I still, hey, I've got, some good stuff. I support I still actually have streams of income that are connected to health and wellness products. So huge shout out to all my friends in that industry. I still support it. We're talking more about that, the thing between the ears, and then the what I call the lack of head to heart authentic connection. That's really where we get blocked, our chi gets blocked, all of these limiting beliefs take over, and you can't see the forest for the trees, and you'd rather we just watched The Nutty Professor last night with our kids, and I don't know if you remember that movie with Eddie Murphy, but
yeah, with Eddie Murphy, yeah, I do, yeah.
when he felt bad, what did he do? He reached for the donuts and the bucket of ice cream and all of the
Yeah,
things. It was because he was disconnected, and he made himself about his he was a professor, and he had this identity, right? This label. And I'd kind of like to transfer into that, because what I see what you do in empowering women and making that sex and money connection. I'd love for you, if you don't mind, I'm putting you on the spot, because it was your intromercial at the summit in January that got me going, oh my God, I need to talk to this lady. How do I reach out to her again? So do you mind sharing your intromercial?
of course, I'd be delighted. Thank you for asking. Yeah, so hello everyone again. Disgruntled, dissatisfied women business owners and entrepreneurs hire us, because there's an us at Suzanne Pool Services now, at BU now. Hire us to help them rediscover their orgasm and exponentially grow the profitability of their businesses, because they are fed up of hitting their heads on the glass ceiling and not hitting their heads on the headboard. So we empower them to get their sexy back, grab life by the horns, and blow the lid off their business. Bottom line, more fun, more freedom, more fulfillment, and more funds in the bank. Guaranteed.
Hey, look, that was so good. You were getting a money call already.
I was getting a call. I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to actually turn my phone off. I was like, I'm getting a phone call. That's not good.
No, it was great because I had you say that because I don't have it memorized, but you talked about the glass ceiling. And I know I have men watching right now. In fact, there was a comment from one of my favorite guests, Sean Waite, just talking about, learning how our beliefs and positive and negative feed our success. So I have quite a few men in here who have women in their lives, right, who are allowing themselves subconsciously, right, to hit that glass ceiling. And I love having you on here to have that conversation, because women, guess what? We can make just as much money, if not more, than men. In fact, it's not about men and women, right? It's
no,
not.
it's actually not. Like, I mean, I do market to women. That's fair to say, but it's really not about men and women. It's not even like, in the world that we live in, Lois. Quite often people talk about masculine and feminine energy, and I don't talk about masculine and feminine energy, because that kind of comes with a connotation that it's like men and women. It's really about allowing, receiving, and knowing your boundaries and enforcing your boundaries, and that's consistent whether you're a man or a woman, and or in fact neither of those things, and gender fluid or non-binary, which is completely like equal. It's more like we are the ceiling. So I talk about hitting our heads on the glass ceiling. Well, where does that glass ceiling come from? Some people might say it comes from corporate America, or it comes from the government, or whatever. But the reality is that actually whatever we want is available for us. And what we need to do is get ourselves out of the way. So the glass ceiling is really self-imposed. And it's about our ability to see what are the thoughts and the kind of experiences or reactions or, perceptions that we have that are having us think that there's this glass ceiling that is stopping us accomplishing what we want. And when we realize that we're the ones that are responsible for our lives, and that we have the ability to take that glass ceiling away, smash it, and then go for whatever it wants, then it's like the sky is literally the limit, like that, really. and that's the same in the bed. That's the same in the bedroom. You know, like we all, you know, I laugh about like bumping our heads on the headboard, because, you know, who doesn't like bumping well, nobody really likes bumping their head on the headboard. It hurts. But, well, sometimes some people like the pain. That's a different subject, not for this podcast. But you know, we don't really. But when we're bumping our heads on the headboard, we're probably having fun, and we're probably experiencing intimacy with our partners in a way that we might not have experienced intimacy with our partners, well, perhaps ever. Certainly not very recently, in my experience. And when we are experiencing that level of connection in our relationships that are ultimately the most important relationships to us, that has us feel better about, like, we feel better about ourselves, and we ask for what it is that we want. And it's a virtuous circle of, like, I can ask, and then I get, and I experience more pleasure and more fun and more free fulfillment, and then I ask again, and it's like this, and it's a reciprocal experience in that it's not just about one person, it's an experience of we together. And when you have that confidence to really ask for what it is that you want in your
guys, remember, I'm still on my podcast. Oh, sorry.
In your bedroom. That's all right. Can I carry on?
Keep talking. Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah. So when it is that you, when you have the experience of, like, asking for what it is that you want in the bedroom, that sort of radiates out from life. And then you start to ask your team and your business for things that you might not have otherwise asked them for, or you let communication in that you might not have otherwise let in. And then it's amazing what happens then. It's like, oh, the business starts to grow and sales start to happen that you didn't expect to happen. And you have more invitations to, like, market your business and develop strategic alliances and partnerships, and suddenly your business is expanding in a way that you never thought possible. But it's all starting over here with a feeling of being confident and clear about what it is that you want, and being unafraid to ask for it. That's the bottom line.
I love it. Yeah, you pretty much covered it all. It is about showing up as your authentic best self. And that's what I talk about in my community every week. You're taking it to a whole nother level. And some people might be like, oh, wow, Lois, why are you talking about sex on your podcast? That's kind of taboo. Do you ever get that? Do you ever have people who are, you know, even maybe ashamed to talk about it? Obviously, people have been through traumatic experiences. You know, I want to honor that here. I just want to say, that and be cognizant of that kind of stuff. But do you find that when women come to you, are they kind of like not wanting to go there, or do you go there with every client, or is it just depending?
Well, that's a tough question to answer, Lois. I mean, to be honest, like, women don't normally come to me and talk to me unless they're willing to talk about sex, just because I'm quite out there that this is what we're going to talk about. So I generally don't get approached or have conversations with women that aren't willing to go there. Do I ever encounter women, like, in the broader kind of context, that are uncomfortable about sex? Of course. And as you said, sex is like a taboo subject that is quite uncomfortable for people. There's really no reason why that should be, in that sex is healthy and a natural part of life and is the way that we procreate the species. So, you know, it's a function of being a human being. And there are some horrible, nasty, really reprehensible, like, deserve to be in prison for the rest of their life kind of incidents that do occur. That's fair to say. And as you know, I'm not a survivor in that way, but it's like, if you are somebody that has experienced that kind of trauma, you can get past it. It takes something, and I'm not a traumatic therapist. Like, I don't work in that arena. So when I meet women that want to work with me, that share with me about traumatic incidents that they haven't resolved for themselves, I generally say, you need to go and get some therapy first. But I do believe that we all do have the power to have those incidents be in the past and let them go and not have them prevent us experiencing full, free, sexual, fun, orgasmic relationships. And frankly, we all deserve that. And really, when you meet the right partner, it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's connecting, it's fun, it's physically pleasurable, it's good exercise. And it helps you sleep. And when you have good sex, you experience abundance in your being, which allows for abundance to come towards you. So,
wow, thank you.
So
that was beautiful. You answered that very professionally and powerful, because I do think that there's a lot of things that we don't realize consciously anyway that are holding us back. And I love bringing on different topics. You are by far the first person that I've had on here to talk about this topic, and it's been so much fun. I know we're starting to get towards the end here. Guys, remember, if you have any questions, whether you're watching on the live or the replay, this is your chance. Like right now, if you have any questions, please ask right now, because you only got about 5 minutes, give or take.
I can't believe it's gone so quickly, Lois. It's gone super fast. How did that happen?
Well, I think you and we could probably start our own. We'll have to do a part. We'll have to do part 2.
Well, I'd like to invite you onto my show.
Let's do it.
I think we will do a part 2, but not in this. We may anyway. So yeah, I look forward to that.
In the meantime, I'll get. So I don't see any questions yet, and you guys can always ask on the replay. And then again, that's just one little quick plug reminder. If you're joining us late and you're seeing this on YouTube or wherever else I'm live streaming, you can always find Suzanne inside of our Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community. And I know you have a free gift for everyone. So let's dive into that and tell them what is this free gift and how do they get it?
This free gift is a really short little report, tips. It's a tip sheet, because who doesn't love a good tip sheet of the 5 ways that you can get your sexy back quickly and easily that will have you empowered to have amazing sex and go out and ask for more business and maybe more money. So yeah, it's a little quick tip sheet. And did you know one of the best things in my tip sheet, Lois? Standing up straight and going and getting a bra fitting. When was the last time you had a bra fitting?
Never. I mean, maybe when I was in my teens.
Right. Now, see, okay. I'm not going to go there because I could talk for hours about that. But it's like, go and get someone to fit you a bra, because it'll make you feel better about it. Like you'll feel differently about yourself. So there you go.
I love it. So guys, please go to, if you're listening to the audio, it's keys to passionandprofit.com. I do have it on the screen. Of course, I'll have it in the show notes. So again, www.keys2passionandprofit.com to have your 5 tips to get your sexy back. I can't wait to get my copy. And really quickly, before I ask the last question of you. Oh, wait, here we go. We have a question. You got in under the wire, Sean. Okay, so Sean asks, as a guy, how do I help empower the woman in my life to be comfortable with being open and not feel like she is being or going to be judged?
Oh, that is it. Oh, Sean, you ask a really tough, open question, like right at the end. That's great. Leave them hanging. So, like this is the key to success everywhere, by the way. This isn't just about your relationship with your partner, your woman. This is like a key for life, really. It's mostly in my experience and what I know, it's about listening. Now, the thing is that I don't know about you, but when I listen to people, quite often my little brain is going about what they're saying. And it takes something to really generate myself, like a turn radio. I don't know if you know what the turnkey radio, to switch off that little voice. And that's the thing that makes the difference, is just generating a space where she can feel free to say whatever she wants to say and not be judged. Now, in our intimate relationships, it's most challenging because they matter the most. So when we hear things that we don't like, that's difficult. But it's also the most rewarding place to have this as a practice. So I think that's a good place to kind of hit pause.
Yeah, I think that's great. And obviously we'll have Suzanne come back. I have just a couple of quick announcements. Then I have one final question for you, Suzanne, that I ask of all of my clients. And to your point, Sean, it's a great transition. So for next week, I have a subconscious mind coach who helps people remove their limiting beliefs. So Sean, I would say, and you already do this, but invite the women in your life to check out my podcast episodes, to check out this episode, to be here next week live to ask questions of the subconscious mind coach. Because you're right, it's not always easy as close, intimate friends to be sounding boards. In fact, I'm a big fan. That's why I have like 3 coaches, because I love my friends and I love talking to them. However, I really need that third party, judgment-free zone, 100%. I'm paying them to give me counsel and wisdom and advice. So please reach out to Suzanne as well. Maybe she can guide you. So speaking of counsel and support, if you guys remember last month in February, I had a class, a 5-day challenge, my secret training that's now not so secret on lead generation, permission-based lead generation and sales through social selling. And I had so much success with it. People were like, Lois, can we do it again? Can you re-release it? Some people couldn't get through it because of the awful weather in the Midwest and in Texas. And so I am releasing this again on March 29th through April 2nd. Just go to loiscoffey.com/get leads. And if you're looking, maybe your first quarter isn't ending so well, not only maybe you want to talk to Suzanne about that, but also I can help you with the tactics, the strategy, the accountability to overcome your lack of leads, because that's the number one challenge people have in business. You can do an amazing podcast, but if you don't have leads and then follow up and close, that's what we talk about through that course, you won't have the income that you also deserve. So please sign up for that class, invite your sales team, invite your business partners, invite your friends, hit the share button, because it can be life-changing to help catapult the beginning of your second quarter here in 2021. So final question for you, Suzanne, because this is a powerful name. I chose Healthy and Wealthy and Wise very carefully for my podcast. And I know what it means to me, but I want to know, when you hear the phrase Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, Suzanne, what does it mean for you?
So before I answer that, I just want to say Lois's course is great. I'm going to be promoting it myself. So, and I might do it again because I did it in February. It's great. Healthy and wealthy and wise is like the all of itness of life. So when we have without our health, there's nothing. And once we have our health and we know that we have our health and can maintain our health, then you can start to build wealth and acquire wisdom. And when you are healthy and wealthy and wise, maybe you're Buddha. But that's what it is. It's the all of it. It's like the infinite. It's like really everything that's possible in life. Thank you.
Awesome.
Great question.
Awesome. Wonderful. I always love to end with that. And it was amazing. Guys, please, if you know someone, especially women in their 40s and 50s and beyond, who are struggling in sex and money and what we talked about today, please share, even if it's privately, or invite them to come inside this community to watch the replay and be able to connect with Suzanne. And until next time, guys, again, next Friday, same time, same channel. We've got Connie Knox coming in, Connie Knox Garcia, who's a subconscious mind coach, again, to follow up what Suzanne talked about, because if you can't release what you can't see, which is in your subconscious, oftentimes you can't take that next step forward. So tune in. Until then, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at loiscoffey.com. untitled.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.